What turned it around? There had to be a moment at Geelong where the light went on and you blokes realised what's in front of us if we knuckle down.
Well, look, 2007 obviously rolled around after a horrid 06 and you know, the whole thing with Bomber and the review that went through the football club, which was completely embarrassing for everybody.
Why? What do you mean?
Oh, when a club gets reviewed like that, when Cookie has to go and ask every person basically at the club what's going on, what's wrong.
But wasn't it necessary?
Yeah, it was necessary, absolutely. It was one of the great things they did, but it was embarrassing. You know, it was embarrassing for Bomber to be thrown out there like that. But as a playing group, we desperately wanted him to stay. We just needed him to change what he wasn't doing in the year previous. That was just coaching.
Yeah. So he was doing too many things.
Doing way too many things. Yeah. And to this day, I still rate him as the best coach in the AFL. To take a young group that he didn't build us into this dynasty, basically, it was unbelievable. Was your own view at the time that the review would end up saying that they needed to replace the coach? Oh, I thought there may have been a big chance, yeah. But as I remember, Cookie asked the playing group, or probably the leadership group at that stage, what do you think? And we all said, we want him to stay. He just needs to change probably a bit of his attitude and what he's doing. I mean, he was having personal problems that year as well, and I don't think he'd ever admit it, but that was definitely playing a part in how he was coaching. You know, he wasn't coaching that well. He was locking himself behind closed doors for most of the week and wasn't doing the one-on-one teachings that we knew he was so bloody good at.
And was anyone bold enough to go to him and sort of say, Bomber, it's not working? Or?
No. Well, like I said, 06 we were unconfrontational.
Yep.
We had nobody in the club that could do it. We didn't know how to do it, and this is where leading teams gave us a path in how to do it, and that's why we became such an amazing group.
So the leading teams concept, is it true that you were one of the first to be used in this exercise, and you're out the front and you're prepared to have this long, hard look at yourself? Is that right?
Yeah, well, I think I was second or third off. Tommy Harley went first because he was captain. Actually, I think I was second. And obviously knew what was coming, you know, just all the suspensions and the ill discipline. But probably what I learnt from it more than anything was the influence that I had on the group, which I didn't realise I did. And they made that quite clear that if I was going out, most of the other guys were going to come with me.
This is the player feedback.
Yeah, this is the player feedback.
Yep.
So all of those kind of things, and that's when I said to myself, well, maybe it's time to smarten up the act, you know, trim everything off. Get rid of the beards, or not so much the beard, but just the hair, and just become a better person.
Stop getting rubbed out.
That was probably a good one.
How did little Gary Ablett Jr. cope when you blokes laid it on him about his importance to the team?
Look, he didn't take it too well at the beginning. I think that's been well documented. I mean, Gazza thought he was a good trainer and he did everything right. Gary was a shocking trainer, one of the worst trainers I've ever seen, to be honest. And he was still finishing in the top 5 in our best and fairest. But we said to him, we believe you could be our Chris Judd if you work harder and you do this, this and this. He walked out pretty upset. Took him a couple of days and he came back and said, right, he trained the house down. I think it's fair to say, even though Juddy's brilliant, he's probably better than Juddy.
Well, he's as good as I've seen, I reckon.
I couldn't question that.
2005, the semi-final loss up in Sydney. How deeply did that wound you?
Mate, it was heartbreaking. Don't worry about that.
You actually pinched defeat from the jaws of victory that night.
Basically. We fought tooth and nail. We had this great lead, and then just to watch Nick Davis just rip our hearts out in a quarter of footy. I've watched the 30-minute thrillers, and I've watched it a few times, and I can't believe the space that we gave him in that last ball up. It was ridiculous.
There tears there?
Yeah, tears, absolutely. I was shattered. Absolutely. And you always are. I mean, it's an emotional game. But Sando was retiring.
That's right.
We were pretty close. So
in the space of 10 minutes, you've gone from thinking we can win the flag this year to we're out of contention.
Yeah, it was just like that. Mate, and like I've said to everyone, the atmosphere at that ground that night, even though we lost, was by far the most electrifying that I've ever been involved in. I think you were there.
I would have been.
Yeah, you would have been.
Hasn't been a
but it was the most amazing noise I've ever heard when he kicked that last goal, even though we're on the receiving end of it.
Yeah. After the break, I want you to relive the pain of 2008.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
You had a big year in 2007, didn't you? All Australian, 67 goals. You get to the grand final, you kick 5, the Cats win by plenty. I mean, that must have been a massive sense, A, a sense of relief because it was the first premiership for more than 40 years, but B, this sense of achievement.
It was, and from a personal point of view, coming off the 99 grand final when I didn't get a touch, and 8 years later, that's how long it took me to get to another one. And that's why I jumped up on the fence, because I remember just thinking I may never be here again. And I just always saw when I was walking around in 99, because I was always at the back, didn't really want to jump in any photos. I thought if I ever get there again, I'm going to do something a little bit special. So I did that and I've got that framed up. That
must
great
be
shot.
The most exhilarating moment of a bloke's life, I reckon. I mean, away from the family and having kids and stuff, but in your sporting life. When
the siren goes, you cannot explain what rushes through your body. I mean, the adrenaline is unbelievable. The 09 one was even better. Because it was such a close game. And it was by far one of the best games I've ever played in, hardest games I've ever played in. So when the siren went on that one, it was just a huge relief, especially after we lost.
And there was a bit of redemption, wasn't there, for you?
Lost the year.
2008, after kicking 5-1 against Port Adelaide in a premiership, you kicked 2 goals 3 against the Hawks.
Yep.
You blamed yourself largely for that loss, did you not?
Yes, I did, yeah. Still do.
There you are, mate. That's at the end of 2008. We see the scoreline there, 11-23 the Cats to 18-7.
That one was hard to take because, without being rude or arrogant and not giving Hawthorn what they deserve, because they were fantastic, but we were the best side that year by a long way. Lost 1 game for the year. But we got to the end of the year and we were, as a group, we were pretty tired. We basically played the same 27 guys for 2 seasons, and that's why you're seeing so many rotations now, because you can't do it. But we got there and we were stuffed. You know, blokes were injured. Stokesy and Chappie, I don't think should have been playing. Other guys just were underdone. So we finally got there and we just weren't playing that well.
There was a big kick just before half-time, wasn't there, that day?
I think so. Who was that idiot?
Ball in Mooney's hands, set shot.
Yes.
Tell me what was going through your mind.
Well, what happened was I took the mark, and if you actually go back, I'm a little bit dirty on the, I think it was Scotty McLaren, the umpire. I actually took the mark in the goal square. So he should have had me straight in front. But should have kicked the goal anyway. So I was on an angle, should have kicked the goal. And I thought to myself, well, the siren's gone. And I had Hodgie and I think Campbell Brown mouthing off at me. So I thought, well, I'm going to kick this, and I reckon I might start a little bit of a blue. Because I had Chappie and Jono out the back who I knew could handle themselves pretty well.
So they were riding shotgun?
They were riding shotgun. So by the time I started running in, Grant Birch was on the mark, and I'm thinking, you poor bugger, Grant, you've got no idea what's coming your way if I kick this. Because I knew if I ran into Grant, I knew these 2 boys would come running at me, and I just thought it was just going to be on. Because they were playing really good footy. I think I needed to unsettle them a little bit.
So you did get a bit ahead of yourself. You said, you've taken this past kicking the goal as to what you're going to do from there.
And I was so probably excited about what was coming. I've tried to kick the leather off the ball and kicked it off the inside of the foot and completely shanked it. And it was by far the worst moment of my career.
And you've gone in at half-time, and there must have been some doubts in the minds of the Geelong boys then, because you'd been wasted so many opportunities.
I went basically into my shell. At half-time, I was sitting in the corner just going over that kick over and over. I couldn't believe what just happened. So I had that going through my head, and I don't even remember what even anyone was saying at half-time. Came out and kicked and took another mark with 30 seconds into the third quarter. Went back and hit the post. So there was my 2 shots either side of half-time that may or may not have turned the game, I don't know, but I like to think they probably would have, and I've probably cost us back-to-back.
Have you watched the 2008 grand final?
I've watched it all the way up till I take that mark, and then I don't watch it again.
Look at that, mate.
Yeah, it's... God, it hurt for a long time.
I bet it did.
It really did.
Did you become reclusive after that?
Not so much reclusive, but because I was living in Melbourne at the time and driving down to Geelong, you know, every day, there's 2 hours in the car by yourself. It's 2 hour think time. And I used to have that kick going over my head. It would just, even when I'd tell myself to stop, it would just keep playing in my head. And there were times where I would have to pull the car over on the side of the road because I just had tears in my eyes.
Wow.
I was just so shattered, and like I said, I put so much blame on myself that I probably lost our chance of going back to back, which is a very important thing to do. It really is. I mean, you've got a great side like we did. To not go back to back, I thought was a bit of a shame.
What do you remember what Bomber said to you after the loss?
To me or the group?
No, to you. Or did he single you out?
No, he didn't single me out. It wasn't until the start of 09 season. He grabbed me. I was stretching in the rooms by myself, and he just came over and had a chat to me and just said, no one blames you here for that loss. You've got to stop putting it on yourself and move on.
So he sensed that.
He sensed it. So, which was nice. It was really nice of him to say, but it didn't really do too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I held it for a long time. It wasn't until basically we won in 09 that I let a bit go. But my relationship with Hawthorn, or probably Hawthorn people, supporters, hasn't never been good since that day. But it's funny, when they lost 2012, I was actually really happy for them that they won last year because they deserved it. They were the best side by a mile.
Yep.
But it was like, you know what, you now know how it feels to lose the unlosable. So now I feel all right.
Yeah, good. No, well, you're entitled to. One of the things about you that sets you apart is that empathy you have with the fans. I mean, you do love relating to the supporters, don't you?
Yeah, well, especially Geelong. Like I love my home supporters, and I loved playing down at Cat Park. My biggest regret is that I didn't get one final game down at Geelong. I would have loved to have.
Did you ask for one?
Oh, no, it was when obviously myself and Tommy Hawkins were playing off that last spot. And I think my last game obviously was Adelaide. And I
got rubbed out, didn't you?
Got rubbed out.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Got rubbed out, and what happened was I got rubbed out for a week, and then we had a bye. So I missed 2 weeks. And I remember sitting down, it was the last home and away game against Collingwood, and Scotty sat down in the office with me, and he started welling up. And he goes, mate, I can't go with you.
Wow.
I'm going to have to go with you. I've just got a gut feel I'm going with Tommy. Which was fine. I mean, I was pretty gutted, but at that stage, my body was so shot to bits. I was actually more worried about me playing and making a complete fool of myself and letting everyone down. So Tommy played a pretty good game against Collingwood. So then I thought, oh, geez, I'm in some trouble. And then the Hawthorn qualifying game, he had a really good game. And I was at home on the couch with my wife, and I basically I cried, actually.
Did you?
I just said,
because you knew it would go.
Then I was done.
Yeah.
But then after that, I was so happy for Tommy. Like he was a kid that came in. I'm talking about earlier how I was unprofessional and all these things. As soon as Tommy walked in, I saw me. I said, this kid's going down the same path.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of grabbed a hold of him and tried to help him.
You were great on grand final day. I mean, there's some really good vision of the older man, the mentor, talking to the young bloke. And I think Tommy's told me that it had a pretty profound impact on him because he said you were so positive.
Yeah, look, from the moment he walked in, like I said, from the moment he walked in, I just thought, I want to help this kid because he's going to go down the same path I did of wasting. I wasted almost the first 6 years of my career of just not being professional. And I didn't want Tommy to do that.
Your last season, you played 8 games, correct?
Terrible too.
Well, the team won every one of them.
Yeah, I was terrible.
Were you?
I should have, looking back, I should have retired at the end of 2010. By the end of that year, my body was starting to pack up on me. My knee was playing up badly. Obviously, had another year to go on a contract, and you're never going to make the money you make at footy, Mike. So you might as well stay around.
But did the coaching staff invite you to hang up the boots, or did they leave it to you?
No. It was. I knew it was going to be my last year anyway. But by January, February, I should have pulled the pin then.
It's been a great career, mate. It has been. Look,
I've been that lucky and very fortunate.
Well, I'm subscribed to the thing you make your own luck. You deserve that, and you've been a very colourful person to boot, which makes you more and more engaging. So we've enjoyed watching you play, mate, and you deserve all the success you've had.
Good on you, Mike. Thanks,
Thanks,
mate.
Cam.
Ta.